out loud in hopes that it will help somebody else. My name is Karrie Miller, Master Coach, helping women emotional overeaters who want to lose weight, heal their emotional eating, and create the most radiant life for them. I hear a lot from people that they feel stuck. I don't know how to stop. I can't do this. I want to do that, but I can't stop myself. I don't know how to move forward. And it creates frustration and depression, anxiety, worry, you name it. Whatever feeling it brings up for you if you feel stuck. If you feel like you'll never lose the weight, you'll never stop overeating. It creates the cycle of anxiety, depression, worry, anger, sadness that you live in. And the first thing we need to do is to get clarity on what it is that we feel stuck in, with, on. So often we don't know exactly what it is. And if we don't know exactly what it is, we can't change it. We can't get the answers that we seek. So what's missing? What exactly am I talking about? What exactly am I stuck in, with, on? And then sit and answer the question. Who specifically is involved? Is it just yourself? Is there other people involved in the situation, the experience? And when and where does this happen? Does it happen at home? Does it happen at work? Does it happen at family functions? That's most often when I noticed it, is when I was with my family. They triggered everything for me. And how often does it happen? Does it happen every day? Does it happen once or twice a week? Does it happen monthly? Get clear and specific on what the problem is. What are you specifically talking about? Then we want to challenge the belief of being stuck. How do you absolutely know it's true? What is the evidence that you're giving yourself that you're stuck? When X happens, does it always cause Y? When I'm triggered, I always eat. When I feel stress, I always eat. When I feel shut down, I lash out. When I do X, it causes Y. Or is it just that you're telling yourself that story? What have you deleted? What evidence have you deleted that it doesn't always happen? Again, we want clarity. We want specificity. We want to draw a line to connect all the dots. And then ask yourself, could there be another explanation for this? What else could be going on here? What have I missed that I'm not seeing that could be the real reason for what's going on? Then let's move into, are we generalizing any information? I always overeat. Do you really always overeat? Can you think of a time when you didn't? I never blah blah blah. Or nobody ever has anything good to say about me. Or, what is a never for you that you generalize everything into? Or every time my coworker throws me under the bus, does your coworker always throw you under the bus every single time? challenge the generalizations. Look for other evidence that it's actually not true versus that it is true. What are the exceptions? Nothing ever happens every time. We generalize information because that's how our minds store information. We generalize it all together, even if it's not initially connected. I hope that makes sense. And find the specificity of when things aren't true. Again, look for the evidence that it doesn't happen every single time. And then what happens if I did have an exception? What would happen if I did this instead of what I do normally or tell myself I do every time? And then the inverse of that is what would happen if I didn't? Now, keep in mind, when we ask these questions, we also need to answer them. We just can't leave them hanging out there. We're doing this for clarity of how to get unstuck. So what stops me from not eating? What stops me from eating? What stops me from feeling my emotions? What stops me from speaking out when my boundaries are crossed? What stops me from whatever it is? Whatever it is that you feel you're stuck in, what stops you? What stops you from losing weight? What stops you from exercising? What stops you from not feeling anxiety? What stops you from not being depressed? What stops you from exercising? In whose beliefs are you living in? Are they yours? Are they your parents? Are they society's? Who said you should, must do or not do certain things? According to who? If they aren't yours, challenge them. Make your own rules. Make your own beliefs to live by, not somebody else's. Because when we live in somebody else's expectations and somebody else's rules, it creates an inauthenticity in us that creates the feeling of if I'm not authentic, I'm not living to, and I'm not living to who I am, then I'm creating the depression, the anxiety, the worry, the fear, the guilt, the shame. And when we don't live to who we believe we are, and we turn to food to cope from those feelings. So if you want to do something different, you want to get unstuck, what is the first smallest step that you can take? How would I do this? How would I know if I had it? If I actually reached the goal, how would I know? Create an evidence trail for yourself. How would I know that I'm not emotionally eating anymore? How would I know when I don't need to binge? How would I know that I no longer need food to cope with the emotions that I feel that I can't deal with? What would the evidence look like for you if you knew that you could do it and do it successfully? So, for example, what do I do specifically when I feel motivated? What do I do when I know when I can safely express my boundaries to somebody? How am I being? How am I breathing? How am I standing? How am I acting? What am I thinking? Create that evidence picture for you. And then hold it in that picture in the front of your mind. so that when you need to be those things, you can draw on it. It's front and center. Now, some other questions that we can ask ourselves is, are we comparing ourselves to somebody else or something else? Are we comparing our situation to a different situation? Are we comparing ourselves to somebody who is better than us, did something better than us, did something not exemplary? Are we comparing? Get specific. What are you comparing to? In what way specifically? Because a lot of times when we compare, we are not comparing apples to apples. We are comparing apples to pineapples. And we delete the fact that we're comparing two different things. Our mind doesn't always work in the most optimal way when we're trying to get something, to reach a goal, to get something done. And then we're going to test the rule. Where did I learn that? Does it still serve me now? And what is the positive intention behind it? Because everything we do has an intention. Is it protecting you? Is it keeping you safe? Is it because you want to feel loved? You want to feel accepted? You want to, whatever it is. What is the positive intention behind it? Again, we're looking for specificity, clarity. And if you want to stop emotional eating and trust yourself, love yourself more, what's a way to honor that in a more healthy way? Because every time we tell ourselves we're not going to do it again, and we do it again anyway, we erode self-trust. So what's a better way, more healthy way, instead of turning to food, instead of binging, that you can honor what's important to you, which I hope is you. So I think some of the best ways to do this is like what I'm doing. I walk and talk. I process out loud. But also, I would invite you to journal on it. Journaling, when you write, it slows down what's going on in your head. Some things happen so fast in our head that sometimes we don't even realize the thoughts that we had. They're so unconscious that it happens so fast that we can't consciously hear everything that happens in our head. And after you go through this process and get specificity and clarity on what's really going on, you can boil it down to the sticky statement that you may be believing about yourself. And once you think you found that statement, write it down. Is it, if I can't do it perfectly, it doesn't count? Is it, I can't voice my boundaries because I don't matter? What's the sticky statement for you that's keeping you stuck in spinning your wheels where you're at? And then ask yourself, what's a better belief that I can act on in a healthy way and that will move me forward than the one that you wrote down? Maybe ask yourself, once you find that sticky statement, is this something that I want to continue living by? And if it's not, then find that new statement. And it doesn't have to be profound. It doesn't have to be a big change. What's one baby step up from that sticky statement that could start you moving forward so that your nervous system doesn't shut down on you. And the one baby step that you can take consistently every day that will get you out of where you're stuck at. When I started my journey of healing emotional eating, one thing that I noticed that I unconsciously chose was I'm going to be more aware of when I'm actually full. And it's not when I'm almost going to throw up. And when I can notice that I'm actually full, I promised myself I was just going to push my plate away. Put my fork down and push my plate away. And doing that in front of my husband held me accountable. I wasn't going to embarrass myself, humiliate myself in front of him by pulling my plate back and taking another bite. My behavior before was to put enough portion on my plate for enough for 3 people and eat the entire thing. And realizing that behavior, bringing conscious awareness to it so that I could change it, I then made that promise to myself. And sometimes there was still half a plate of food left. And then I would joke, yeah, my eyes are bigger than my stomach today. And consciously choosing to put smaller and smaller portions on my plate was the next step, the next baby step. And then continue to decide when I'm full, consciously being mindful of when I'm actually full and putting my fork down and pushing my plate away. And getting to the point of not even putting more than one portion for myself on my plate. And then deciding after I'm done with that one portion, am I still hungry? Then I get to give myself permission to go get a second helping, but that second helping isn't going to be a full portion. So what are the baby steps that you can take from your new statement that you can apply consistently, practice consistently, and then add on another baby step too, and slowly for you, whatever your system will allow, add on another step, and before you know it, you've reached your goal. And I'd love to hear, what are some of your sticky statements? Put them in the comments. Let's share, because I'm sure somebody else may have something similar, or maybe they have a way out that they were in it and now they're not, and they can share that with you. I hope this helps you. As always, live radiantly, my beautiful souls, and stay true to you. I love you.